The rising cost of living, including a hike in electricity tariffs, taxes and the depreciation of the Sri Lankan rupee, has resulted in Sri Lankans struggling to settle their electricity bills. Against such a backdrop, the Sri Lankan government has increased electricity tariffs thrice so far in 2023. CEB spokesperson Noel Priantha said the supply of electricity for 120,474 consumers was suspended in August and for 118,481 consumers in July. The supply of electricity for 106,106 consumers was suspended in October.
The CEB General Employees Union says that reasons for the CEB to suffer such massive losses should be looked into by a commission.
With
the recent heavy rains experienced in the country, 80% of the electricity provided at present is hydropower. If electricity is produced through hydropower, a unit of electricity would cost about 1 to 3 rupees. With the distribution cost, a unit of electricity would cost 10 rupees, considering the CEB generates a significant profit. However, is there no need to investigate? That should be done. They are burdening the people now. Appoint a commission to investigate this. Why did this happen to the CEB? Who took these decisions? Investigate the reason for this. If not, there would be no meaning to the suffering that the people are going through right now.
කවුද මේ තීරණ ගත්තේ? මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් හොයන්න. නැත්තම් මේ මිනිස්සු මේ දරන බරට සාධාරණයක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ.
Gathering views from the general public prior to amending electricity tariffs is a step in the procedure established by law. However, it is blatantly obvious that the so-called meeting to gather public opinion regarding amending the electricity tariffs that was organized on the 18th of October was nothing more than a farce to fool the general public. The Public Utilities Commission had invited the general public to attend this meeting, stating that the CEB had presented a proposal to increase electricity tariffs by 22%. However, on the 18th of October, views of the general public were not gathered based on the proposal to increase tariffs by 22%, but based on a proposal to increase electricity tariffs by 18%. The PUCSL should clarify to the general public as to if this complied with the Gazette published in this regard. Just 48 hours after gathering public opinion regarding amending electricity tariffs, the PUCSL had decided to go ahead and increase tariffs by 18%. The extremely fast pace that the PUCSL adopted to reach this decision is undoubtedly one worth for the Guinness Book of World Records. The PUCSL imposes 13 conditions on the Ceylon Electricity Board. 11 of these conditions had specific timelines during which they must be implemented. However, what's hilarious is the fact that the Commission, in the very same document, had reminded the CEB that none of the conditions imposed by the PUCSL when tariffs were increased on 2 previous occasions this year had been met. One could reasonably imply that the imposition of these conditions by the PUCSL is also a farce, much like the meeting to gather public opinion. Chief among these conditions imposed on the CEB by the PUCSL is the requirement for the CEB to reduce their expenses. However, the continuous mention of this condition to the CEB has become a Sisyphean task at the very least. The largest expense of the CEB is the ad hoc purchase of emergency power, and these purchases were approved by none other than the PUCSL itself. Based on the report sent to the CEB by the PUCSL, the electricity tariff hike that came into effect on the 20th of August is clearly an unjust tariff hike. Await more details on this expose tomorrow on Action TV.
There is a procedure followed by the CEB to disconnect a consumer's power supply. They are disconnecting the power supply because people can no longer pay for it. People in past lived in the dark in caves and cooked their food on a wooden stove. But after the advent of technology, people do not like to live in darkness. But do you know, during the past 10 months, the supply of power was disconnected to 788,235 consumers by the Ranil Wickremesinghe Rajapaksa government. They have left these people in the dark in this technologically advanced world. In this world where they speak of going to the moon, this is a government that talked about giving tablets to children. This is a government that spoke very highly about these matters. Now they have left the people in the dark. Why did they increase the electricity tariffs? Reservoirs in the vicinity of hydroelectricity power plants including Castlereagh and Victoria are overflowing. But they are increasing electricity tariffs. What is the reason? That is the conditions laid down by the IMF. And what is their condition? That is, if we are to reduce the debt, the government has to reduce the people's services and sell our resources. You have to sell our oil corporation, CEB, and our port. You are expected to first show profit generated by the CEB and then bring in the plan to restructure the CEB. And only then they will consider to grant the second tranche of the IMF debt relief. That is what we as the people of this country have to focus on.
IMF එකේ ආණ්ඩුවක්ද මේ රටේ මහ ජනතාවගේ ආණ්ඩුවක්ද